Good morning, everyone. Let's get right into the stock market charts, find our next trade ideas. If you guys are new, check out the course, link in the description below. Leave me a thumbs up as well if you find value. I do appreciate that. It does help the channel. Again, I don't get everything right, but I do try to point out what I'm seeing, and we do get quite a few trades right. So leave a thumbs up if you guys are at least finding some value there. All right, I'm going to start out today. I'm going to get this video out early this morning because I'm seeing some potential breakdowns in the market, in the general market indices. They haven't quite happened yet, so I want to point it out before it happens, but I'm going to start out with the Nasdaq Futures, and we'll look at the S&P 500 Futures as well. So Nasdaq Futures, we're looking at an hourly chart here, so it's really short time frame, but you can see over the last, basically since August, about August 19th, we've been in this bearish rising wedge pattern. So you can see right there, we've just been making this rising wedge on pretty low volume. But recently, towards the top, we have negative divergence that's been building for a little while now on the PPO and the RSI. So that's indicating we're likely going to get a trend reversal or a break. And that's pretty much the status quo for this market over the last couple of years. It runs up, makes a new high with negative divergence, and then you get a correction. And that's where we're at right now. We're at an all-time new high with negative divergence. So I'm looking for that correction. So we have a break in the Nasdaq Futures of this bearish rising wedge. Just yesterday we broke. So you can see we broke and we've just drifted sideways, kind of grinding around since then. Looking at the SPY Futures, the ES, same pattern, bearish rising wedge right there on this hourly chart. Negative divergence that's been building, and we just broke yesterday as well. So here's your impulsive break of the bearish rising wedge. Back test one, sell off. Looks like they're trying to do another back test, but we'll see if they can actually do it, because the point is that it is a bearish pattern and we have broken to the downside so far. So I could see more selling coming into the markets to close out the week. Let's look at the Qs, triple Qs. So in the triple Qs, we have a very similar pattern, but we have not broken the bearish rising wedge yet. So here's your bearish rising wedge right there. You can see we have negative divergence on the PPO that's been building. And again, just short time frame. We're looking at the hourly chart, so it's really just active trading. But there's your negative divergence at the highs. So it's indicating that we're going to break to the downside. We just don't see it yet. And you can see right now on the hourly chart, we're just holding right there at support. So tomorrow is the jobs report, the government jobs report. Perhaps we're going to get a breakdown on that based on that news. Looking at the SPY, same kind of pattern. You can see here that we basically have on this hourly chart, we've got bearish rising wedge right there, and we have negative divergence that's been building. This one's not as clean, but it is still there. There still is negative divergence that's been building. We're starting to break. Actually, you can see right now on the hourly chart, we're just starting to break. Don't have the hourly close below there yet, so you want to wait for that to indicate that. And you want to see an impulsive breakdown, but the futures have already broken their pattern, and to me that says that maybe we'll hold up in the markets today, but then in the overnight trade or the early morning trade when the jobs report comes out before the market opens, we're gonna get breakdown in the futures even more, and then we'll gap down in the SPY and the QQQ tomorrow at the open. That's what I'm reading right now, so we'll see if that plays out. Okay, that's all I really have on the indices, just kind of a shorter term analysis. My longer term analysis on the daily chart still remains. We've got big negative divergences that have been building for a while. So I am looking for a sizable correction in the near future, but we don't know when that's going to happen. We need to see sell signals. Moving on to some individual trade ideas. Let's look at this one. So this is American Eagle AEO, and I talked about this for a while. So this has been a trade idea. And basically on the daily chart, this is your uptrend line right here on the daily. And we basically started up here to build negative divergence, which means we've got new highs in price, slightly new highs, but the momentum was trending lower. So there's your negative divergence. Again, check out the technical analysis course, link in the description below. I go through all these concepts with video training courses, about 5 to 6 hours worth of courses. it's well worth the money, I believe, and it's not expensive. I charge $99. So there's your negative divergence. We broke trend right here. So this was kind of your initial sell signal on this trade right there that day back in July 16th was your trigger or your entry to short this thing. And if you took that, it consolidated sideways. But again, we've got support levels that I marked out. So first support level was really right there at 32.59. We hit that several times. Then it finally broke. Once it broke, we hit the next level of support, which I've had marked out for many weeks. 30.62, hit that, kind of bounced off that. And then I figured that once we broke that level, and we broke it just yesterday, I talked about that in the video, that I didn't see any support until all the way down here at 26.01. You can see we gapped down, just slightly above it. I covered my trade this morning, so I'm not short this anymore because I saw that it was gapping right near that support level. And again, you want to cover your shorts at support. And we hit that support. We didn't quite hit it, but we basically came pretty close. About 26.30, so within 30 cents. That looked like a good spot to cover. And I don't have any other levels really marked out on this. Doesn't mean I really want to go long, but I don't have any more levels that I feel comfortable really pointing out. So I think I'm probably done with this trade. But from the entry right here to the exit right there, we're down 21%, at the low this morning. So it's a 20% gain if you shorted that in just a pretty short period of time. So that was a successful trade. Let's move on. So a very similar trade, A&F, which is Abercrombie. It's also a clothing retailer. Kind of holding this flagging pattern, this support area right here. So I've got this lower trend line marked out right there. I think if we break that, we're heading lower. And I do believe that will be the case. 30.50 is the next level of support. So I've got that one marked out. And then below that, we'd have the potential to come down here to 23.84. But that 30.50 looks pretty good. Sorry about that spam call. So I do think we're going to break. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm still short this one. And it's a very similar trade to American Eagle. So moving on. Okay, let's flip over to oil real quick. So here's the crude futures CL, and you can see we're kind of breaking out today to the upside. We had this resistance zone right here at 69.40, and you can see we held that for quite a while. But today we had an impulsive breakout right there, and we're still holding above. So what that means is I'm going to let this drip trade go. You can see here it's down 9% today. Looking at the daily chart, we entered the drip trade all the way down here on the breakout. I was looking for 14 right up here, a move all the way up to 14. We had bullish divergence back here on the breakout. So we had all the signs saying we were going to break out. It was, we started to run up to 14, but we stopped short and sold off. I'm letting that one go. It's not as profitable as I was hoping, but we're still walking away with some profit. So you can see here, it's roughly 10% profit or so if you're going to let that go right now. And yeah, I don't like that breakout in crude, so need to cover this trade. So I close that one out. Okay, here's a long trade idea. I've had subscribers ask me for some long trade ideas. KHC. So what I want to point out here is on the daily chart, you can see that basically we've got this point of resistance right here at 35.98, about 36. Back here, there was some sort of news, accounting. I think they had some accounting issues or something going on. So they had a big gap down, and it really gapped down right to that $36 area. And ever since then, it was in a bear market, and that was acting as resistance. So you can see we finally got back up to that level right there, tested it, and we were rejected. And then we basically just right here, we had a breakout above that level. So that's a nice impulsive breakout. That's what you want to see when you're breaking a level. Impulsive green candle for a breakout. And that looks good. And then followed by another impulsive breakout the following day with volume. So that area right there that's good confirmation on a breakout. And you can see recently we then created this uptrend. So starting off on this is the March 2020 area. We started this uptrend, and it was in an uptrend, started to build negative divergence here at the high, and we broke trend. So that was your sell signal right there. And we've come all the way down in a nice correction from that breakdown, about 11% down to that key level of support, $36. And we're basically at that right now. But down at this level, you can see we are building bullish divergence. And I can show you here on the hourly chart, it's a little more clear. Right there is your bullish divergence on the hourly. And you can see it's pretty clear on the daily as well. You know, that extends way out. But we're making new lower lows in price as we go down. But the momentum is moving up like that. All right. So that's bullish divergence. That indicates that we're likely, going to hold this support level. And so that's what I'm looking for. You can see here on the hourly, we've dipped below it just briefly, but the buyers are still kind of hanging in there, holding it above. Looking at the daily, here's your stop. This looks like a stop raid where you dip below that level, run some stops, and then we've recovered. So I'm looking for some sort of an impulsive move. What I'd wait for is if you mark it out on the daily, this is probably going to be your breakout point. And you can tighten that up on the hourly chart as well. Look for a break above this level, this downtrend line, and that's going to be your buy signal. So I'd let this thing kind of do its thing, but if you get that impulsive break, right now that's sitting at about 37, but you get that impulsive breakout to the upside. Maybe we're going to go sideways a little bit more and then break out. That's going to be your buy signal. So looking for a break right there. And I like that for a long trade. If we get that breakout, I think this is probably good for a gap fill all the way up here at 48. You can see right there, that is the point all the way back here where we had that big gap. And we actually never filled it. Right here, they ran up, started to look like they were going to fill it, but they stopped short and sold off. So I think if we hold here, we're probably good for a complete gap fill now, all the way up there to 48. And that would be a move of, on this breakout, depending on when we get it, a potential move of about 30% gain. So there's a long trade idea. I like it. I'm waiting for that breakout. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay, so gold and gold miners. We'll start off with gold bullion. Gold's kind of just thrashing around sideways. You can see today, no real change from the last couple days. We're just basically sideways. Still holding the uptrend line, still above the key support level of 1790. Altogether, everything looks good for continued upside in gold. I don't see any signs that we are, going to break. We do, if you look at the hourly, we do have some negative divergence that has been building right there on the RSI. You can see slight negative divergence on the RSI as we've made new higher highs right there. That was on lower momentum. So there is some negative divergence there on the RSI. It's not so much on the PPO. I don't really see it there on the PPO. So RSI has it, not the PPO. Kind of mixed signals. GDX, which is the miners, let me pull that one up. You can see here on the daily, we're just continuing to just, hold above support. We had our buy range right down in here at support 30.77. We've recovered that 31.30. That 31.30 level goes all the way back to, it's a major level basically. It goes all the way back to 2013. That was key resistance many times. I have it circled here. We finally broke out and it's support ever since. So there's support there. We hit it again right in here and we've recovered that. So as long as we can hold that support level, I think the miners look good for a long trade. Maybe we want to hit it again, but regardless, I still think over time we're going to work our way higher and continue to trend upward. And a lot of the miners look the same. Here's Newmont Mining just continuing to hold that support level right in here. So the point is we've got some market moving news with the jobs report coming out. The reason why that's market moving is it really goes to what the Fed's going to do. This entire market trades off the Fed. It doesn't matter about earnings. All this market cares about is what the Fed's going to do. And that's really been the case for really about the last 10 years. But the market, the jobs report, is going to be likely market moving. If the jobs report comes in weak, perhaps that gives the Fed some room to continue pumping money, continue stimulus. That should be bullish for gold, so maybe that's what we're going to get. So maybe these miners are just waiting for that catalyst before taking off. But in general, they have a bullish setup. So we just need that spark, that catalyst for these to start uptrending. That's all I have, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Give me a comment. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out. I do appreciate it. And I will get this video out. Catch you on the next one.